All right, hello your rates. This is going to be our last main video on factorizing, and then we're going to go on and start looking at how we can use it. So before we do, a quick question for you. What did the left eye say to the right eye? So something to ponder while we get into this. Now these examples are going to be a little bit trickier, going to require a little more work. I'm going to show you sort of the basic technique, and maybe later in the week I'll show you, it might be considered a shortcut. So I want to factorize this. Notice what's different this time. This time there's a coefficient in my x squared term. We haven't had that yet. We haven't had a coefficient in front of our x squared term. So that's going to change things and make things a little bit trickier because it's no longer just going to be x and x. In order to get 3x squared, I need it to be 3x and x. Now it doesn't matter where the 3x or the x goes. Just stick them in 1. So now I need things that multiply to 8. But I have to be careful because it's not just multiplying to 8 and adding to 14 anymore, and we'll see why. So multiplying to 8 is either 1 and 8 or 2 and 4. Those are our choices, and it's a positive 8 and a positive 14. So I know both numbers need to be positive. So let's see what happens. And I add to 14. Well, neither of those things add to 14. And we'll see why this is going to be a problem. And the easiest way to do this is going to be to do a little bit of trial and error. So I could put a 1 there and an 8 there. I could put an 8 there. I could put a 1 there. I could put a 2 there, a 4 there, or a 4 there, or a 2 there. Those are pretty much all my options. Now again, when you get good at this, you're not going to have to write this out. You're going to be able to do this relatively quickly in your head. So let's see what works. Well, the 1 times 8, or 8 times 1, they all multiply to 8. But how am I going to get my 14x? Well, remember, I'm going to do this 3x, right, times whatever number this is here, and I'm going to do this number here times the x that needs to get 14. So if I did 3x times 8, that would be 24x. Up right away, we can see that's going to be too big. If I did 3x times 1, that's 3x, and I still need 11x. I can't get 11x the other way around. So that's not going to work. If I do 3x times 4x, that's going to give me 12x, and I can use this 2x. 12x plus 2x is 14x. So we found our answer with a little bit of trial and error. So 3x and x, and I just discovered that the 2 and the 4 go there. Now, does it matter this time? Well, yes, it does. It does matter where the 2 and the 4 goes. Let's check this. Pay attention to what's going on here when we check it. I'm going to do 3x. I'm going to get rid of these numbers up here. We're done and we've used them. Okay, so I'm going to do 3x times x, which is 3x squared. That's great. I'm going to do 3x times 4, which is 12x. I'm going to do 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times 4, which is 8. Combine and simplify, I get 3x squared plus 14x plus 8. So to do one like these, when the coefficient of the x squared, the coefficient is the number in front of the x squared term, are a little bit trickier. It's not going to be quite so obvious. You're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error. It doesn't take long. The more you do these, the quicker it'll get, and you can probably do it in your head without having to write it down. So let's see how you go. Try factorizing this one. Okay, I hope you managed to figure it out. So first off, we know there has to be a 2x and an x, because the only way to get 2x squared is to multiply 2x times x. There's no choice there. It doesn't matter which one goes where. Just stick them in. Now the next thing is I need two numbers that multiply to 15. So it's either 1 and 15 or 3 and 5. And it's a positive 15, and I'm adding up to a positive 11x, so they're both going to be positive. Now we notice if I add 1 and 15 or add 3 and 5, I don't get 11x. And again, what's happening, this 2 is throwing all this off. So we're going to need to try these very quickly in our head to see what works. So we could very quickly try, say, 1 and 15. Well, that's going to give me 2x and 15x. That's not going to work. 2x and 15x is 17x. What if I did it the other way around? What if I put 15 and 1 there? Well, 15 times, that's 15x plus 2x. That's going to be too big. I can't remember if I did this one. If I did 1 to 15, that would be 1x and 30x, because 2 times 15 is 30x. That's not going to work. So that doesn't work. So it's either 3 and 5 or 5 and 3. So I can try 3 and 5. That would give me 3x plus 10x. That doesn't work. So it looks like it's going to have to be 5 and 3. 5x and 6x is 11x. I think we found it. So our answer is going to be 2x plus 5, x plus 3. Again, these especially, it's a really good idea to check really quickly in your head. 2 times x is 2x, or 2x rather, times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 3 is 15. Combine my like terms, simplified, 2x squared plus 11x plus 15. So we found it. So again, a quick little bit of trial and error. You'll be able to go ahead and work these out. Okay, I want you to pause the video and go ahead and factorize these expressions. Okay, let's see how we did it. Again, we know how we're going to start. 3x squared must be 3x times x. There's no choice. 4 is either 4 times 1 or 1 times 4, and hopefully you realize it's going to work like this, because 3x times 4 is 12x, and 1 times x is 1x, and add those together, I get 13x. Okay, the next one, 5x squared must be 5x times x. There is no choice. It's the only way. 5 is prime. It has to be 1 times 5. Now, to get 18, there are some different choices. So, we try some things. 18 is either 1 and 18. It should be obvious that that's not going to work either way around. The other choice is 2 or 9. That's not going to work. The other choice is 3 and 6. So if I put my 6 there and my 3 there, I'm going to have 6x plus 15x is 21x. So that's going to work. And my 6 times 3 is 18. Again, I'm going to multiply the 6 times the x to get 6x, and the 5x times the 3 to get 15x. Okay, next one. 2x squared is going to be 2x times x. There's no choice there. I have quite a few options for 12, so I'm going to need to try a few things. Is 12 and 1 going to work? No, that should be obvious off the bat. That's not going to work. What about 2 and 6? No, that's going to work. What about 3 and 4? That is going to work. 3 times 4 is 12 for the end. 3x plus 8x is 11x. The key was 11x is odd. I was going to need an odd number, so 2 and 6 wasn't going to work because that was only going to give me even numbers. Even plus even is always going to be even. Okay, if we look at this last one here, 7x squared, it's going to have to be 7x and x. Again, the order of the 7x and x doesn't make any difference. Just stick it in. Now 10 is either 10 and 1, which should be apparent that's not going to work. If I put the 10 and 1, that's going to give me 17, or 1 and 10 is going to give me 71. The other choice is 2 and 5, and I need to get to 37. So I think my 5 is going to have to be here to multiply by the 7, and my 2 is going to need to go there. And if I check it, I'm going to have a 2x plus 35x is 37x. That's going to work. So you can see these are a bit trickier. They require a little more thought. Okay, so let's look at another example here. This throws another twist into the matter. So 4x squared, there's some choices this time, aren't there? It could be 1 and 4, 1x. It could be x and 4x. But it could be 2x and 2x. So I have a choice. So now it's not quite as obvious anymore. And to get 3, all right, well 3 is just 1 and 3. So it's just a matter of trying. Right? It might go like that, or it could go 3 and 1. And then it's just a matter of trying what's going to work. Either way I'm going to get my 3. Either way I'm going to get my 4x squared. It's all about getting that 8x. And it should be obvious to get the 8x. That 3 times 2 is going to give me 6x. And then that 2x times 1 is going to give me 2x. So it's going to be x squared plus, not x squared. This is going to be x plus 3. And, oh, I'm sorry, not x plus 3. It's 2x plus 3 and 2x plus 1. And again, we can check this, right? 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 3 times 1 is 3. So that bit works. 2x times x is 2x, and 3 times 2x is 6x. So that's going to work. So again, if the coefficient of the x squared is not prime, it becomes even trickier because there are several options now. Okay, go ahead and give this one a go, and then we'll see how you did. Okay, this time again, our coefficient of our x-squared term is 4. So it could be 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. And 7, this one's a little bit easier because 7 is just 1 times 7. That looks a bit like a plus. It's 1 times 7 or 7 times 1. So hopefully what you found was, I think what works if I do 2x and 2x, if I put my 7 there and my 1 there, I get 14x. In this case, this is a rare example. It doesn't matter where I put my 1 and my 7. Why? Because both terms are 2x. So it's not going to matter either way. I'm going to end up with that answer. Okay, go ahead and pause the video, factorize those in your book, and we'll see how we did. Okay, let's see how we did. So the first one, I think it's going to be 6x and x is what you should have found, and plus 5, that's going to give me a 5x, and plus 1 is going to be 6x. So that's going to give me a 5x and a 6x, which gives me 11x. Okay, for the next one, I think we should have found it's going to be 3x and 2x, right? And it's going to be, what, plus 2 and plus 5, because that gives me 4x, and 15x is my 19x that I'm looking for. Okay, so the next one is going to be 4x and x, and 9 is going to be, 3 and 3, so I make a plus 3 and a plus 3. Again, that would be 3x, plus 12x is 15x. And the last one, I think it's going to be 2x and 5x, and then we need 8. So if we do, how do we get our 8? So I think it's actually going to be 10x and x, isn't it? And if I do that to get 8, I need, 8 and 1, or 2 and 4. We'll try this again. As I said, these can be tricky, especially if you're trying to do them in your head. So I think it's going to be plus 1, right? That's going to give me 5x, and plus 8. So that's going to be 5x and 16x, which gives me 21x. So those are your answers. Okay, so again, these are really about as tricky as they get. Require a little trial and error. It just requires some practice to get good at them. So again, I think my original question was, what did the left eye say to the right eye? And he said, between you and me, I can't even remember what it is. I've got it. Between you and me, something smells. Sorry about that. Too much factorizing on the brain. It's been a long week. It'll be a new week once you guys see this. So we'll see you later, and for more algebra fun.